Hello again. We're getting close to the end, and I can't wait for you to hear the finish. Today I'm wearing my pirate pierogi t-shirt, since it would be pirate season-ish, but poor pirates can't play. Charlotte's hanging down at an angle, so hopefully she'll stay still. But we're going to get started with chapter 13, and then just one more to go. Chapter 13 is Captain Fudge. "Look at my Mitzi," Fudge said early Sunday morning. The two of us were on the porch waiting for Grandma to call us in to breakfast. She was making pancakes as a special treat. "Doesn't it look good?" He handed his baseball glove to me. "Feel how soft it is?" "What'd you do?" I asked. There were dark splotches all over it. "Oiled it, like the man at the store said." "What'd you use?" "Guess." I sniffed his glove. There was a familiar smell to it. "I'll give you a hint," he sang. "It's pink." "Pink oil?" "Yes," he said. "You give up?" "Yeah, I definitely give up. Oil of Olay." He gave me one of these satisfied smiles. "You used oil of Olay on your mitt?" And he nodded proudly. "Oil of Olay is for skin, turkey brain. Mom uses it on her face. I'm not a turkey brain, you're the turkey brain, and you're just jealous because your mitt's not as soft as mine." "Yeah, right. And I'm jealous that my mitt doesn't smell like that pink stuff, too." "I like that smell." "I'm glad, because you're going to be smelling it for a long time." "What'd you do, use up the whole bottle?" "The man in the store said to oil it every night, remember? He said a few drops. He was talking about Neat's foot oil." "What's Neat's foot oil?" It's what you're supposed to use on your baseball glove." I watched the expression on his face change as he got the message. "Never oil of Olay?" he asked in a small voice. I shook my head. Now he was about 2 seconds away from tears. Why didn't I just tell him his glove looks great? Why'd I have to make such a big thing out of it? So I said, "Look, it's not like you did anything wrong. You were just, I paused trying to find the right word. "Creative?" he asked. "Right, Charlotte?" "Yeah, creative." And I handed him his glove and went to see what Jimmy was doing. He was still in bed, sound asleep. "Hey, Jimmy, wake up." He rolled over and buried his head under the pillow. "I'm not getting up today," he mumbled, curling himself in a ball. I pulled the covers off of him. "The ball game starts at 10 a.m. "What ball game?" "You know what ball game." "Oh, that ball game. I'll probably strike out every time I'm up." "So what?" I said. "It's not every day you get to play with Big Eightful." "I never even heard of this guy until you started in on him." "Too bad," I said, "because he's headed straight for the Hall of Fame." "Says who?" Jimmy asked. "Says me." There were more people at the high school field than I'd ever seen in Southwest Harbor, and more dogs than I'd ever seen anywhere except in Central Park on a sunny day. Enough dogs for a team of their very own. When Sheila saw all those dogs, she screamed and ran back to her father's car. "I'll wait here," she said, slamming the door. "It's going to be a long wait," Mr. Tubman told her. "I don't mind," Sheila said. "I brought a book just in case." "I thought you weren't afraid of dogs anymore," I said. "I'm not, once I know them, but stray dogs can give you diseases." "Not if you don't kiss them," I said. "Ha ha." "If you change your mind," Mr. Tubman began. "I'll never change my mind," Sheila told him. Mr. Tubman shook his head, but he didn't force Sheila out of the car. Jimmy and I headed for the field. I stopped in my tracks when I saw this great-looking girl in a red striped t-shirt stretching out near third base. It was Isabel. "That's her," I told Jimmy. He gave me a blank look. "Isabel? From the library?" I said. "Really?" Jimmy said. "That's Izzy?" "Yeah. She's incredibly ugly." "What? You're crazy," I said. "She's beautiful." Jimmy slapped his thigh and laughed. "I got you that time," he said. "Very funny," I told him. There were other familiar faces, too. The woman who owns Oz Books was there. I call her Dorothy of Oz, even though that's not a real name. And the butcher from Sawyer's Market, Bicycle Bob, was there, too. He said, "So, how's the newest member of the ISAF club?" "Great," I told him. "Keeping your mouth shut?" he asked. "I'm trying." "That's the way," and he cuffed me on the shoulder. Suddenly a low murmur ran through the crowd, and everyone looked toward home plate, and there he was, dressed in full Red Sox uniform, Big Eightful in the flesh. I recognized him right away, first by his height, 6 feet 6 inches without spikes, and second because he still looks a lot like the picture on his baseball card, except he's gained a few pounds and now his hair is gray. Everyone gathered around him and you could feel the excitement. Mitzi and Fudge were right in the middle of it, each with an arm around one of Big's legs. I tried to work my way closer, but I got shoved aside by the guy from the hardware store. My heart was pounding. Please let me be on his team, I prayed. I'll never ask for anything if I can just play on his team. Will you check that cannon and shut it off, please? Then, it might be your dad. Then Big spoke and his voice boomed. As most of you already know,
this is a nightmare.
What's that mean?
I don't know.
Just say sorry and then hold it, but put it on mute because I'm reading again. Say Mom's reading. Then Big spoke and his voice boomed. As most of you already know, these old knees aren't what they used to be. I can't take the field or run the bases anymore. And he looked right at me and nodded as if he knew me. But I can still knock one out of here every now and then. And I cheered with the crowd. So to be fair, Big continued, I bat for both sides. Everybody cheered again. Everybody except for me. What? I said. How can he bat for both sides? That's impossible. That's against the official rules. When in Rome, some woman who was standing next to me said. I glared at her, and she glared back at me and repeated the whole phrase, as if I hadn't gotten it the first time. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. I've got news for you, I told her, feeling my face turn hot. We're not in Rome. And I've got news for you, Junior, she said. Rudeness will not be tolerated in this game. Who's being rude? I asked. Cut it out, Peter, Jimmy whispered, grabbing my arm. I shook him off. Calm down, will you, he said. It's just a game. I suppose you think it's fair for him to bat on both sides. Yeah, I do. I looked away. My throat felt tight. Big grabbed a fistful of straws, and everyone who wanted to be captain drew one, including Jimmy and me. Look, Fudge said, holding up a short straw. I'm captain. Isabel held up the other short straw. I'm captain, too. I can't believe this, I said. Maybe she'll pick you for her team, Jimmy said. Yeah, sure. I wasn't about to admit it, but I was hoping the same thing. Hey, Izzy, Fudge called. I'm reading that book. I'm on chapter 4. Fantastic, Isabel called back. Let's go, some guy with a serpent tattoo shouted. Choose up sides. This is a ball game, not a social hour. Captain Fudge, with his oil of Olay mitt, got to choose first. So, who did he pick? The biggest, strongest player? No, that would have made much too much sense, Charlotte. He chose Mitzi. Then it was Isabel's turn, and if I were the amazing Kreskin, I'd be able to make her choose me. I concentrated on my name, trying to get the message through to her. Peter Warren Hatcher, Peter Warren Hatcher. Isabel looked at me and smiled. Yes, I thought, it's going to work. I closed my eyes, and when I did, Isabel chose Tony Ickle. Then Fudge picked me. Goodbye, Isabel. I tried to get him to choose Jimmy next, so at least I'd have a friend on my team, but did he listen to me? No. And Jimmy wound up on Isabel's team. Nothing was working out the way I'd planned. Absolutely nothing. Charlotte's crawling up the side of the chair, so we'll just keep an eye on her. I don't know where she's going. Our side took the field, and When in Rome was on first base. I was on second, and Buzzy Sr. was on third. Fudge and Mitzi stood right next to each other at shortstop, and Dad was on the mound. Isabel's team lined up, and Tony Ickle was their first batter. Dad threw a fastball, but it went wild. He threw 6 more before he settled down, and lucky for us, it's a no-walk game, which means everybody has to hit. Tony popped up the first one that crossed the plate, and it came toward me. I was ready for it, though, but I took my eye off the ball just for a second to make sure that Big April was watching, and when I did, the ball dropped at my feet. I picked it up and panicked, and my throw to first went over the head of When in Rome. Wake up, Junior, she yelled. Where's your eyes? In the back of your head? I could feel everyone staring at me. I swallowed hard and blinked back tears. If only I could do it over again, I'd make that catch. It's all right, Peter, Dad said. We all make mistakes. Sure, I thought. But we don't all make 2 on the very first play of the game. My legs were shaking, and I felt Grandma's pancakes bouncing around in my stomach. Before the first half of the first inning was over, Isabel's team had 5 runs, and Big hadn't even come up yet. And when he did, he slammed one out of sight and scored 2 more runs. Finally, it was our turn up at bat. Bicycle Bob was on the mound for Isabel's team, and he put every pitch right down the middle. By the time I came up, we had 2 on and 2 out. Okay, I thought, this is it. This is my big chance. I can make up for all my errors now. All I have to do is concentrate. And I stood up to the plate. Bicycle Bob wasn't going to get anything by me. I could feel Big watching. I could feel him thinking, this guy might have potential after all. Bicycle Bob wound up and threw the first pitch. I took a huge cut and missed, spinning all the way around. It's Fudge-A-Mania, Mitzi sang. No, it's not, Fudge told her. It's a strike. Oh, Mitzi said, disappointed. I took another swing and missed again. Keep your eye on the ball, Pete, Fudge called. Just what I needed, my 5-year-old brother giving me tips at the plate. Bicycle Bob threw the next pitch, and this time I was ready for it. I heard the crack of the bat as it connected with the ball. It was good, strong shot, but wait! It was headed straight for Grandma, who was playing deep in third. Run! My team yelled. I ran for first, trying to keep my eye on Grandma at the same time. I hoped the ball wouldn't knock her down. But I was worried for nothing because Grandma jumped with her glove held high, and she made a fantastic catch. I was out. Isabel's team cheered. Thanks a lot, Grandma. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, they did. We were back in the field. Isabel came up to the plate. She's one of those players who wiggles the bat. Actually, she wiggles more than the bat, but I tried not to notice. She knocked a slow grounder right at Mitzi, but Mitzi knew what to do. She had her glove on the ground and her legs together so the ball couldn't get through. She stopped it. She picked it up. Look, she called, showing everyone, I've got the ball.
There.
Throw! We all yelled at her. She looked confused and then threw the ball to Fudge, who was standing right next to her. By then, Isabel was on her way to second. Here, I yelled at Fudge, but instead of throwing the ball to me, he ran it over and personally handed it to me. By then, Isabel was on her way to third. Throw, Peter! Buzzy Sr. yelled. But I was scared I'd throw it away again, so I decided to fake a throw instead, and it worked. Isabel headed back to second. When she realized I still had the ball, she turned and tried for third again. We had her trapped between the bases. There was only one sure way to get her out, so I ran after her.